So, a little background on me and my family. I graduated from high school at 13 and college at 17. I started tutoring and teaching music lessons at the age of 12 and incorporated into an LLC at 21. When I finished my third bachelor's and started my MA PhD in education, I now have a successful tutoring business with 9 on my team, including me and my new husband. I pay my employees almost $30 an hour and support my husband and myself fairly comfortably. My parents divorced when I was 7, and I got both my brains and my looks from my dad, from whom I and the rest of the family is estranged. My entire life I've been told that I have a genetic predisposition to be lazy, just like your father. I had a lot of accidents and daily migraines and slept a lot as a kid, and caught pneumonia no less than 3 times a year between the ages of 10 and 18. Through all this, I still excelled, but despite my early diplomas, major scholarships, and successful business, my mother is able to find fault and doesn't even believe that I ever got that sick as a child and that my business isn't actually successful, accusing me of being on welfare. I just got married and this past year finally got diagnosed with epilepsy. I've likely had it my entire life, which would have caused the migraines, chronic fatigue, and constant viral infections. And, left untreated, I went from small, barely noticeable, non-thrashing seizures to several grand mals a day. My family doesn't and has never believed that I am really sick. At my wedding in March, my mom went around to the entire extended family telling them I have a drug problem because I was recently given prescriptions for medical marijuana and pain pills. She also cornered my husband right after the honeymoon and lectured him about how he married a clinical hypochondriac and how he has to help protect her from herself in regards to my lazy nature and drug abuse problems. I've been in therapy for 5 years trying to figure out how to deal with my mom and am unmedicated and remarkably mentally stable, even for the average person who doesn't have a crippling brain disease. And for the record, I drink maybe once a month, don't take my pain pills at all, and never tried marijuana before I got my prescription. Fast forward to late May. I get my test results back from the neurologist. The diagnosis is official. She revokes my driving privileges, says I'm no longer allowed to work, and gives me a laundry list of other things I'm not allowed to do, including bathing alone or being home alone. I start getting treatment. Meanwhile, my sister drops out of nursing school, gets a $7.25 an hour job at a fast food joint, and moves back in with my parents. Now, most of our students are beginning violin or piano students, K through 12 students who need homework help, and the occasional homeschooler whose parent isn't up to teaching trigonometry themselves. The chicks finished all but 1 year of nursing school and played violin and piano for 10 years. Not hard, right? I decided to hire her to take my students so that I no longer have to work, and because it made my heart ache to see my sister work minimum wage. I assign a senior employee to be my manager, and my husband and I leave for his parents' house 200 miles away in the mountains, where I can be out of the city to recover and have more physical support. Remember, I'm not allowed to be left alone. I set my sister's salary at what I charge per hour, not taking a cut because I'm stupid and generous this way. Before I leave, my sister shows up at my house at 7 a.m. unannounced. I wake up, open the door, and the bright sun outside triggers a seizure. I collapse. When I come to, she is sitting on my couch smoking my weed. I want paid, she says, not commenting on my seizure, which is the first grand mal she's witnessed, to my knowledge. And I want it in cash. She refuses to give me her direct deposit information so I can pay her automatically, like I do my other employees. I pay her in cash. She leaves. My husband and I leave town, leaving his best friend of 3 years and most qualified employee in charge. We've only had one problem with her. Before we left, she suggested docking her own pay because she ran our account numbers and didn't think our profit margin was fair for as much as I work. I gave her a few extra duties, but didn't dock her salary. First major problem. I go to run payroll and realize that there's not enough money in the business account. I investigate. Several families haven't paid. My sister's students. I call them. Several gave her checks without a name because they were confused about if they were supposed to pay her or the company. I call my sister, and she admits that our mother was pressuring her to cash the checks for herself to avoid taxes and make sure I don't take a cut. She says she chickened out and will give the checks to my manager. 2 weeks later, my manager doesn't have them, and tells me that my sister told her a similar story regarding my mother. I overdraw over $2,000 running payroll. The manager, Julie, goes to my mother's house to physically get the checks from my sister. My mom tries to tell my manager that I have Munchausen's disease, where you fake a serious illness to get medical attention, and that I'm lazy, not accountable, and not doing my job. When I confront my mother about it, she tells me that my manager is lying. She's trying to steal my husband and my business, and that there is a major conspiracy going on in your company, and it has nothing to do with your sister. I call my mother on her BS and tell her I really am sick, and that if she can't be nice to me, not to talk to me at all. Great, it'll be a break from your drama and verbal abuse, she says, and has not talked to me since. Meanwhile, my sister contacts me. This little bee is an a-hole. I don't want to work with her anymore. Me. Okay, contact Julie and she'll have someone else take it. Her. No, this is your business. You deal with it. Me. Julie is your manager. Talk to her. The following week. I'm not making enough money. I need more hours. Stop taking out taxes. Me. If you want me to stop withholding taxes, you have to put it on your W-4. Julie can help you with it. I'll see what I can do about hours, but the student you gave up was 8 hours a week, and it'll take some time to replace that gig. Her. But your job is to make sure I have work. The following Friday, I call her asking if she needs any help with building summer homework for her students. She says no. The next Tuesday, I text her and ask the same thing. She ignores my text message, asking why she hasn't been paid. She is delayed turning checks in again. I explain that Julie will write her a check as soon as she turns in all the tuition. 3 days later, this past Friday, she texts, "I'm firing the Johnsons. Give them to someone else. I won't be showing up anymore. Thanks." Me. Okay, let Julie know. Her. No, you're my boss. You handle it. Well, I woke up this morning, checked the calendar, and saw that the Johnsons were scheduled for today. I contact my manager, and she says my sister hasn't said anything, even though they work some families together and carpool. I call and text my sister. Did you talk to Julie about the Johnsons? Are they scheduled for today? Her. Yes. No. Me, knowing she hadn't talked to Julie. When did you talk to her? And why are they scheduled today in the system? No response. I ask my manager to do the same thing. My sister responds to my manager with several long texts about how I'm lazy, not doing my job, how she's not getting enough help, and I keep passing the buck onto other people. She talks about how she's ready to quit, but knows my business will fall apart without her. At this point, the appointment is in less than 2 hours. I have Julie call the family. She discovers that the family was expecting my sister to show up today. I tell Julie to cancel the appointment and say that I'll return to the city within the week and will take over the case again. This isn't a great thing because I'm still having several seizures a day and am not supposed to work. My sister has still not texted me. It's been 3 hours. The answer seems obvious. She's a crappy employee and sister. But the backlash from my family will be incredible if I fire her. And I don't want to be the reason my sister is unemployed. I don't have any hard evidence that she's stolen money, and all the clients she has, even the ones she's fired, absolutely adore her. That said, if any of my other employees had talked to me this way or withheld checks, they would have been fired on the spot. This is a right-to-work state, though I treat my employees very well. We work with children. I can't afford to take BS. My manager is getting ready to go out of town for a week. If I fire my sister, my husband and I have to return to the city a month early, cover both of their schedules, and start looking for another employee to replace my sister. We will also have to deal with huge backlash from my family and possibly violent harassment from my sister. She's bipolar and not medicated, because my family doesn't believe in illness you can't see. She has physically assaulted me several times over the years. The last time, punching me square in the face on Christmas Eve over a comment I made in response to her calling me a lazy freeloader. I had been home from college less than 72 hours and had spent most of the time sleeping. How do I handle this without getting myself K'd? Fire her. If she so much as approaches you aggressively, inform her that you will call the police if anything happens. If she assaults you, you have her arrested for it. You need to fire her. She is totally ducking over the business you put so much work into. She's a terrible employee and a crappy person. Family ties be damned. As for damaging your relationship with the rest of the family, Why do you even want to be around a bunch of a-holes that won't speak to you for fake reasons? Update. She's fired, but it did not go well. My husband and I decided to return to the city, but I made the decision to call my sister and have the conversation with her while I was still 200 miles away. It felt cowardly at first, but now I'm glad I did. Right before I made the call, my manager forwarded me some texts that my sister had sent her. In them, my sister completely tore apart my character and told my manager she was ready to quit and that she had started calling in sick to students, so I just don't have to deal with it. Me. So I hear you're frustrated and wanted to quit. Her. Yes, I'm frustrated because you're not doing your job and telling me what I'm supposed to do with these students. Me. I and the rest of the team are always available to help, but you have to communicate with us. I asked you 3 times last week if you needed help, and you never responded. Her. This does not fall on me. This is your business, and you can't just keep passing the buck to your employees. I have fully communicated my frustration, and you've done nothing. Me. No. One-word texts and insults do not qualify as adequate communication, particularly when you do not ask for help. When you need help, you have to ask for it. You can't just call in sick to avoid dealing with it. Her. But maybe I was sick. Me. Then you're supposed to call someone so we can send a substitute. I can't have an employee who just doesn't show up to work. If anyone else on the team pulled this, they'd be gone. She hung up on me. I had a meltdown, but knew it was for the best and felt a little vindicated that she was the one who hung up, even though I was doing my best to be nice. 2 hours later, she sent me a text. I hope your husband never wakes up out of his trance, because very few people in your life like you, and you'd be ducked if he did. I felt sorry for you as a kid because you had no friends. But the truth was, even your friends couldn't stand you, because I can't even stand you, and never have been able to. We may be blood, but we're not friends. I hope you like the bed you've made for yourself, and that the rest of your life is just like this. Kissy face. I responded with, if that's how you feel, don't contact me. I then burst into tears, stopped them up with a cigarette and a couple shots of tequila. I'm a grown-up, don't judge. And my husband immediately started to load the car to return to the city. A little while later, my sister Sarah, 19, called me to say that our sister Amy had deleted me from Facebook and made a public post about how she has only one sister and that she is amazing, talking smack about me, and tagging Sarah to make sure I saw it. Sarah immediately removed it from her wall to spare my feelings. I never did see it. Sarah is now getting the wrath of Amy, and Sarah is so fed up with the family drama that she's leaving the country for the rest of the summer before returning to Boston. We got back to the city last night. I didn't sleep most of the night. I had a seizure in the parking lot of the grocery store today and woke up in the back of an ambulance. I came to in complete hysterics, fear and embarrassment because I've never had 911 called on me before, and emotional pain. As I told my husband, I don't miss either of them. I just wish I had a mother and a sister. After I was discharged, I was able to get an emergency appointment with my therapist, and it helped a lot. I'm on ordered bed rest for 48 hours, even though I'm technically on rest until September, when I'll be to the full dose of my anticonvulsants. Update 2. As I stated in the comments, I had my manager contact my sister confirming the termination, instructing her not to contact any students, requesting her final timesheet, and telling her that her final paycheck will be mailed to her along with her W-2 and a formal statement of termination. I began calling families to notify them that their appointments will now be with a different tutor. It turns out that my sister continued to see students, even though I explicitly told her not to. I tried to contact her. She blocked calls from me, my husband, and our manager. I left her a voicemail reinstating that she is not to have contact with any students, and my husband sent her another text with the same information. Meanwhile, families that were hers are one by one leaving the company. Some had already started paying her directly, and the others are upset that their child has to go through the emotional trauma of switching instructors. So far, the company has lost 4 families. I've informed the others to call the police if my sister arrives at their home. My manager has also informed me that my mom is now accusing me of stealing thousands of dollars of piano music from the family. I'm the only one in the family that plays the piano, and she delivered all the music to my house herself. I don't need to be told I've been stupid up to this point. What do I do next? This woman is actively, blatantly attempting to destroy my life. Wow, your sister sucks. I'm sorry she's hurt you like this, but you're sure to be better off without having to deal with her BS in your life. Your true family are the people you choose, not the people you get arbitrarily assigned to at birth. And it sounds like your husband, at least, is legitimately awesome. So I hope you won't let this get you down for too long. Also, are you sure you actually fired your sister? It sounds like there were enough meltdowns to go around, which maybe means she won't show up anymore. But, how awkward would that be if you both showed up to tutor a student and an argument broke out? She seems vindictive. I guess now that I think of it, she probably has similar opportunities for vindictiveness whether she knows she's fired or not. Anyway, even though you might have preferred to keep your composure, the way you eventually handled the situation was pretty boss. You're obviously destined to be successful both in business and interpersonal relationships. So keep on being awesome.